It's finally fall here on our homestead, which means the house is cozy and I get to start making apples. No, not apples, but the apple harvest has finally arrived and I get a chance to wash up all of the apples that have been harvested from a local producer here in our area that grows them organically. I first start peeling the apples, and then from there, I can make my own applesauce, my own apple butter, and of course, apple juice. Now, once I've peeled the apples and cored them, I set that aside in a little bucket like this, and I make my own homemade vinegar. And let me tell you, nothing beats homemade vinegar. So this is our Buck Jr. over here, and that is Buttercup's son over here. She's in heat, but we're not breeding her right now. And this is Mrs. Luna right here. And we've also bred our other doe, Minnie. Sorry, Junior. So that's Minnie, it's hard to tell. Minnie is the one with the horns. And so she's been successfully bred to Junior as well. So we've got two does that are pregnant. Yay! And that is just fab. Here we go. This is what we're looking for. If you're new to breeding goats like me, I've learned this just very recently, but that is what you want to see for successful breeding. She's still pretty flirtatious. The tail wagging here means she's flagging. She's telling him she's still very receptive. And that's fine. We'll leave her in here for a couple days just to make sure everything is done. But from what I can see visually, we do have a successful breeding. So our buck over here, he is almost 6 months old, believe it or not. So hopefully this will take. He's just a handsome boy. Usually he comes right up to us, but today he's a little occupied. And that's okay, isn't it? Luna, you are quite the flirt. So we have our chicken plucker. We have a turkey that I am working on right now. Knives. This turkey, she's probably about probably about 13 pounder. She's pretty good size. And do not throw these bones away. Save the carcasses, boil it down, and make broth. Turkey broth is really good. Okay, so I know this seems weird, but this has gone back into the roaster, and I'm going to cook this down low and slow. My temperature is set to 250 degrees for right now, and then I will lower the volume or the temperature. I just put, you can see it right there, I just put a half a cup of salt. Now that was 2 turkeys. This is an 18-quart roaster oven. I am putting in celery, 4 stalks of celery, 1 shallot. I just cut it up into mini pieces. And this is I'm adding my homegrown thyme. That was probably 1 tablespoon, I'd say. 1 heaping tablespoon. And then I'm adding apple cider vinegar to this. Probably about 1/4 cup. And I'm gonna put the lid on, and this is going to cook low and slow for 24 hours. 24 hours this will cook. This is in my garage, in case you're wondering. This is not in my kitchen, but I have kind of a little setup here in my garage where I have my food vacuum sealer, my roaster, and my Kasori food dehydrator. Right now I'm dehydrating some peppers, but that's for a different day. But I'm gonna let this cook low and slow for 24 hours. And then after that, I will can it up. So I have finally finished with the chicken or the turkey broth. And now what I'm doing is I'm simply pouring the broth through the sieve. So I'm taking it from here. I'm not going to bore you with all of this, but what I'll show you while I'm doing this in the background is this is what I have been getting. These are half-gallon size mason jars, and I am simply filling them up. And you don't fill them up, if you see this, I don't fill them up all the way to the top because they will expand. There you go. Now, if you want to see an example of what this looks like, here in my freezer, I have broth that I have already frozen. This is chicken broth, and this is chicken soup. And it freezes in these mason jars just perfectly. And I have more chicken broth here. And when I'm ready to use it, I just simply take it out. Easy peasy. The next day we woke up to freezing temperatures. I stepped out into my garden and found frozen thyme. I was able to still get some time from the garden and promptly stuffed it into the slow cooker for some nice beef stew. Then I got busy in the kitchen. Making crackers is something very easy for me to do. And because I have children, I seem to be making a lot of them. They're always in demand. The recipe is really easy to follow. I use about 2 cups of flour to about 1 cup of water, hot water, and a little bit of melted butter, maybe about 1/4 of a teaspoon, or 1/4 of a cup, excuse me. Knead the dough, let it rest, and then I take the dough and I flatten it out on parchment paper, just like you see here. Once I flattened out the dough, I put a little bit more butter on top, and then I take my fork and I create a bunch of holes, cut them up into little squares, put them in the oven for about 15 minutes at 375 degrees. And this is the result: homemade crackers. These crackers went perfect on a day like today because I made a little discovery. It was time to take out my first ever homemade hard cheese. Cheese and crackers are a favorite in our family, and as normal, today was no exception to that rule. I hope this video finds you and your family well. Thanks for watching.